The Pimax Crystal Super is finally dropped, and now we can get a better look at it as compared to the Pimax Crystal Light. I've been rocking the Pimax Crystal Light for almost a year now, so I'm very familiar with that headset. And I've had a few weeks with the Pimax Crystal Super, and I just want to talk about the differences between the two headsets and the pros and the cons, and if you need to update from the Crystal Light to the Crystal Super, or if you need to buy the Super right out, depending on what your needs are. So let's get into it. First things first, it's the price. One is about $880 and the other one is almost $1,700. So you're looking more than double the price for it. And is it worth double the price? That's what we're going to be talking about it. So let's do a head-to-head comparison for what you're getting with the Crystal Light and what you're getting with the Crystal Super. Let's start with the major part of any VR headset. That major part is what you're looking at and what the resolution is of what you're looking at. So the Crystal Light's got a OLED screen that gives you 2880 by 2880 resolution. So there's two screens in it. The Super is a QLED screen, and that's a 3840 by 3840. So as you could tell, the Super has way more resolution than the Crystal Light. Now, that's not to say that the Crystal Light does not look good. I can run the Crystal Light at full tilt and it looks beautiful. But the Crystal Super is on another level altogether. And that's what you're paying for when you're paying more than double the price. As a matter of fact, the amount of pixels per density, the PPD, of the Crystal Light is only 35 PPD, while the Super is 50 PPD. So you're getting a much clearer and a much better resolution. You can't even see the pixels on the Super based on my experience of what I'm looking for. The second difference is the field of view. The Crystal Light's got a field of view horizontally of about 115 degrees, while the Crystal Super has a field of view of 135 degrees. So again, the Super comes out on top, and it has to be expected if you're going to be paying double the price for it. So that one goes to the Super as well. The next item you want to look at is foveated rendering. Foveated rendering, which is basically eye tracking when you move your pupils and you're looking around in the headset. The Crystal Light has a fixed foveated rendering, so it's fixed in the center of the screen pretty much. So when you're looking around, maybe towards the edges, you'll start seeing a little bit of blurriness and so forth. But with the Super, you get a dynamic foveated rendering where it now follows your eyes. It's eye tracking. It follows your eyes around, so you're always in the sweet spot no matter where you look. That's not to say that the Crystal Light is blurry by any means, because it's not. I've been using it for almost a year, as I said, and I actually never even noticed what was going on until I got the Super to see the difference. But is it a huge difference? It's just one more thing added to the headset to make it that better than the Crystal Light itself. Another thing also in the headset is what's called IPD pupil distance. Basically, it's the distance between your pupils. With a VR headset, you want that IPD to be aligned directly between the two eyeballs, basically, or the two pupils. You want it to be aligned between the two pupils. And this is done manually in the Crystal Light. Basically, when you have the headset on, there is a little rotating knob that you could turn to align it to your pupils. You do have to get some kind of third-party software, which is free, to measure your pupil distance. And once you get that pupil distance measurement, you can dial that into the headset manually with the Crystal Light. With the Crystal Super, that's done dynamically. And I've seen it where you put the headset on, and it will tell you, make sure you look directly at the screen. There's a little icon that comes up, and you can hear the motors moving back and forth and aligning your pupils directly doesn't miss a beat at all. It knows what your eye measurements are between your pupils. So that's pretty cool to have. You don't have to get an app. You don't have to know what it is ahead of time. It does it dynamically for you. Another thing that we can talk about is comfort in wearing these two headsets. The weight of the Crystal Light is lighter than the Crystal Super. Henceforth, the Crystal Super has a top strap that comes with it that you can use to offset that extra weight. Now, I've used both for hours. Do I really notice the difference? Not necessarily, unless you're moving your head around violently from left to right. Maybe you're dogfighting or something, you might notice that extra weight. But in general, just moving your head at a normal pace back and forth, up and down, you really don't notice it. And the top strap that comes with the Crystal Super does make a difference. For the Crystal Light, you really don't need the top strap. To be honest, I don't think you need it, but a Crystal Super, it comes with it and you definitely need that. And that also adds to the weight of the headset, which is a little bit more. But the last and most important thing that you want to consider with these two headsets, other than the price, is do you have the hardware in your computer to run it? I have a 4080 Super, and that's really good for my Crystal Light. I can run my Crystal Light at the natural native resolution without any issues at all. Adjusting my sim settings, I'm running it at 70 hertz. But that same card gets brought to its knees when I'm running the Crystal Super. The Crystal Super really needs like a 4090 or a 5090 to take full advantage of the native resolution of that card. So that's a drawback. So if you're going to get the Super, you better make sure you have a graphics card that can run that thing natively. Now, there is a workaround right now that I've been using with my 4080 Super, which is to dial the resolution down on the Crystal Super to match the resolution of my Crystal Light. So I'm not running 3840 by 3840. When I'm playing on my rig, I'm running 2880 by 2880, which is a Crystal Light's resolution. And that works fine. But I'm just letting you know that whatever graphics card you have right now, that's a huge consideration if you're going to be getting the Super. Now, if you want to future-proof your VR headset, go ahead and grab the Super, and then later on you can always update your computer rig to match that and takes full advantage. But just be aware that is going to be an issue. If you try to run the native resolution on a graphics card that's not capable, you're going to have some problems with that. Practically speaking, what does it look like and feel like when you're using these headsets? What are the big differences that you notice or don't notice? In general, if you're new to VR and you got the Crystal Light, you wouldn't even know that there is a better option out there, because the Crystal Light looks so good as it is right now. It looks very good. It looks very clean. And if you have the computer specs, you get good performance out of it. Other than that, it just works. You do your customization on your settings in the software, and you're off and running. It is a great headset, especially if you're just getting into VR. The beauty of VR is that you won't get sick if you have proper frames and a no blurry vision in the headset. You will not get any kind of motion sickness. That is the beauty of the Crystal Light. So it's a great option to get if you wanted to go with that. On the other end, once you jump into the Super, you start noticing the little things that are different and better. One, the automatic adjusting PPD. Two, you also recognize the fact that you have the foveated rendering, which is dynamic, which moves around with your pupils. And then the sharpness of the screen. The sharpness of the screen, I can't begin to tell you how sharp and how bright it is, and how the blacks are blacks in it. It is really a nice screen to look at if you could push that setting all the way up. If you have to dial it back to the native resolution, it is okay. It's not bad. It still does look sharper than the Crystal Light. However, you want to run this thing at full resolution to get the full advantage of it. So using both headsets side by side, you can definitely see where the Crystal Super starts to worth the extra price that you pay for it. But fear not, if you had to go with a Crystal Light right now, it is a great option. to start with at the price you're going to be starting with. For this kind of headset in this class at about 900 bucks, give or take, you're going to be okay. We get in the Crystal Light, but fear not. If you go with the Crystal Super, it's packed full of a whole bunch of goodness in there. I hope this little breakdown of the differences between the two headsets from Pimax gives you a better understanding of what you get yourself into as far as price and which is going to be better for you. Anyway, hope this helps, guys. Thanks for joining me on this other one here. There'll be more to come. See you later.